My passion is to see Africa transforming, and the nation standard is significantly not different from the people's standards. Therefore, my focus is mostly on Africa and the countries of Africa and the people of Africa. And when I'm talking about the people, I'm talking about the bone of the people, that is the bone of the nation, the strengthened one, the younger generation of Africa, which I've studied for decades and I know what they lack, what they need, and I'm going to be dispensing it to them. So if you are one of the people that you know that you still have responsibility for when it comes to the transformation of your nation, of course, listen very well and you are going to be helped. Everyone is responsible for this, is or a standard. Wherever you find yourself, the standard you find yourself today, you are the one responsible for it. Your limit is a limit of knowledge. So that is why it is my responsibility to ensure that we are limitless with limited knowledge. With limitless knowledge, you are limited. Growth is a standard of understanding, and the stagnancy is a limit of knowledge. When you are stagnant, just know that you are limited in knowledge. So Africans or black countries today are behind. They are called third world. I'm not always agreed, and I will not say happy, though agreed that the Africans, black countries are known as third world. Now, what does it take to be a part of the first world is what we have searched for, enjoy of it, and it's my responsibility to also disclose it on this platform. Your limit is a limit of knowledge. So what's limited the Africans is knowledge. Growth is a standard of understanding, and stagnancy is a limit of knowledge. You must make it clear to the young Africans that the growth they've gotten so far is the level of their understanding, and the limits they have in the world in global development or contributions to the development of the nations, the international body or whatever it's because the limits, they are limited in knowledge. Now, give the people the proper sense. That is my ideology, that is my philosophy, that makes me stand before you. That when you give the people this proper sense, the information that is right, it affects positively the condition, imperatively react to the living condition of the nations. The nation is of standard because the people are of standard. They have a proper sense of reality. So now the less nations will, which is the African nation, will compete with the first world with the right in knowledge. The question is, are they not knowledgeable? Do we not have knowledgeable people in Africa? Of course, everybody knows. We all know that we have knowledgeable people in Africa. So what's now the problem? The problem is you imparting yourselves with wrong knowledge. The Africans, sense depends solely on the white sense, and the white happens to be their competitor. Now, how do you want to take something from people you want to compete with? You can't take my things and use to compete with me. Of course, Africa has originality. They have their self-values, but they refused to give attention to it. And we must start giving attention to our self-values. So the lesser nations will definitely compete with the first world as soon as you can agree with this fact from King Prime, fortunately, the so-called third world will be better if the people understand the factors that limit them. If the African nations understand the factors that limit them, they are called the third world. I can assure you that very soon there will be a change of story if people can understand that they lack the sense of limits. They lack the factors that limit them. Some in my continent, they have refused to admit that there is a limit and the knowledge of their limits. They refused. A lot of people refuse the knowledge of their limits. They refuse to agree that they are limited. And I'm always very, I feel embarrassed when I see on social media, the blacks are trying to make a vehicle, trying to make planes and some other things like that. These are just experiments. They're experiments that they could have done better really if the government encouraged good things. But government itself doesn't really know their limits. The government only go there to, beg to be slave to the white. And you want your nations to be better. Of course, because you have refused to identify the factors that limit you and understand your limit in knowledge. And the knowledge acquired, dependent on by Africans, is not their own knowledge. They are just borrowed knowledge. Borrowed knowledge, they are not part of you. We're forcing ourselves to learn of the whites. Yes, it's good to marry their sense of universe, like the primary school, universal education, such as primary and secondary school. Very, very important to admit that the white have done so much by spreading this kind of knowledge to African. But let me tell you the truth. Anything beyond the preliminary knowledge of the white is useless to Africa's development. They are no longer used. They are only important when it comes to international relations. They are no longer important to development of Africa at that advanced level. So what do? We must identify our limit, the factors that limit, and understand our limited knowledge so that you can find a way forward. So now, what knowledge do we need? We need the sense of originality and we need sincerity. We have to tell ourselves this kind of truth, that Africans will be better with the sense of originality, sincerity, and truthfulness. All right, my message remains the making of the nations. The making of the nations. The information reaching out to the black countries is weak to transform the continent. The information reaching out to the black countries is so weak to transform the continent. The information, the dependence of the advanced schools, the tertiary schools in Africans is by Africans is very, very wrong. It wrongs the sense of their development. It won't help their nation's development. It's their practical sense that will help the nation's development. But I'm going to be advancing the people to these senses. Of course, what people know is limited to their experience in their affairs. What they know is the level of development we have seen in Africa. You cannot take from the whites and be better than the whites. So the development is crawling in Africa. It's not fast seen in Africa. What makes difference with human is neither success, not to be successful, but the art to make one. How many Africans are ready to make success these days? For the people who are not for just their immediate need. So, and the white know the limitations of Africa, that they are not selfless in the pursuit of goals. They are not being realistic with living. And they never wanted you to change, because they feel that is the life you've chosen to be. You want to be the slave to them forever. You want to depend on them. You want to admire. You want to, talk about what they do, the lifestyles of the whites. I want to be part of what they do over there, even when they are not accepting you. You're supposed to come down to yourself and know what makes the difference between me and these people, and from there you get better. What makes difference with human is neither success, not how to be successful, but the desire to make one. The Africans will get better when the younger ones desire to make the continent better. If the black nations understand what they have, or lacking, of course, they will definitely look for it. That is one problem. That is what I call it ignorance. What we do not know is one affecting the African. If they actually know what they have, the value they have, and what they are lacking, they definitely going to look for it. But they don't know. You see, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, lack of revelation. Nobody's revealing the truth to Africa. And people who know the truth, they take advantage of the ignorance of the Africans as their leaders. If the black nations understood what they have and lack, they will definitely look for it. So you lack the power when you lost the mind to make one. You must have the mind to make the power before you can have it. So the word beauty The word beauty the word is beautiful because beautiful ones are on earth. The word of beauty you see today with the white is because there are beautiful ones over there. There are beautiful hearted people, people who want to do something great for the people, who want to die for the people with something good. Not the arrogancy of Africa, of the black man. The black men are just arrogant. They have self-praise, self-esteem. They rejoice with little they achieve. They think they are the best everywhere. You hardly see any. You see white would have made a lot of impact before the black man will. It shows in what they import. Virtually everything they should have been making in Africa, even the source, the mineral materials they have in Africa, can't make best use of it. They have to just still export it to import it back to their countries. Does it make sense to you? The word is beautiful is because there are beautiful ones therein. There are beautiful ones on earth. The word that are beautiful is because there are beautiful ones staying in that word. So Africa is ugly. If you see it ugly, if you see things not working, just believe that there are less or none. Everyone who has these beautiful ones beautiful to make good things in Africa, they have to find their way to Europe. Because the leaders of Africa, the leadership in Africa is for self-gratification, self-importance, satisfactions, joy, happiness, class. It's not to serve the people. Blacks don't appreciate their good senses. Okay, Africans appreciate the foreign knowledge than their own knowledge. They don't want to know themselves. They lack self-actuality, self-recognition, self-identity is not in Africans. So must appreciating the knowledge that will work for them. They don't appreciate the knowledge that will. And it's high time we must start. You must start appreciating the knowledge that will work for you as Africans, okay? Not only the sense acquired from the white, you should be appreciating. You're so proud of becoming a professor of what the white has made you. Africans are so proud of becoming a professional of what the white has made them. Yes. Lift their own nature with no significant attentions. Okay? Or black possibly or seemingly senseless about their own values. Unfortunately, the black are seemingly, possibly senseless with their own. They don't have the sense of their own values. They are less concerned about their own values and pursue to death the white valued. To waste their time for 18, 19, 20 years pursuing the knowledge of the white. The white tertiary education is my issue here. The white tertiary education is actually prohibited, should be prohibited when it comes to tertiary education. Tertiary education is not so good for the nature of Africa. It's your own education after the first school and the second school. You must just perfect the curriculums therein. And thereafter, you should work to make your own school. They should work in your own school. And Africans should have their own schools, not co-hosting the masses like the white schools that are co-hosting. No, not to gather people together believing that no. Don't leave that format. People, the knowledge is personal. It's not collective. So individuals should have a way of schooling himself to their advancement, and should there's any need for one another in practical, of course we should know where to locate as an individual, getting all we need. Why must your children go and sit down in school for 4-5 years learning from them? That should be a professional way of handling these things, and our own natural traditional way of getting the knowledge it requires to get ourselves developed. And getting ourselves developed would advance us to making our nations the better one. Okay? Blacks all over the world, they lack a global sense of belonging without their originality. They sell to the white what they receive from the white. They claim the lifestyles of the white to the white. Okay, they demonstrate who the whites are to them. The whites know that it's not part of you. All the thing the proof, the certificate you are esteeming without a significant practical success. Whites are mocking you with the way you certify your children with what you took from them. The white people, the white countries are mocking you. They know you are not original. You don't want to know anything about yourself. You just want to know everything that has happened over there. Okay? So let me finish my write-up. So they said to the white, the same they received from the whites. Claim to the people the lifestyles of the same people. Africans are self-praised, and in this they praise themselves. Say, now I'm a graduate, now I'm a master degree holder, now I'm a professor, a PhD, or doctor. So, what do you learn? That is dropped from the whites. Drop, just little of what they are. You learned, and now you are using to brag and want to, Thank God this generation is getting better. Our eyes are opening. So the Africans, young people's eyes are opening. Africans are fond of self-praised. Of course, they're self-deceived and self-pleasured. Strive for great mind. So nobody is trying to strive for great mind. They just want to, show themselves. Africans are fond of self-praised. When we do little, when we have just few people, maybe 100 people making difference in the world, you think Africans are already arrived. When we have thousands of them from white, making much difference and our own people still dependent on what the white can. So white only use those ones to carry you along. They are not the best in the system. Let me tell you the truth. So the Africans are fond of self-praised, self-deceived, and self-pleasure. So now I want the younger ones in Africans, because the problem is not springing from the younger ones in the Africa. Yeah, it exists before we come. So strive for the great mind to make you a great deed. To make a great deed in Africans, young people here, they search for a great mind. I've made a book on this. I have a very classic book on this for the young Africans that crave for difference of the continent. So let me just run through this. The making of the nations right. Then let the people of the continent stop looking for who will make them, but let the leaders start looking for the great mind to feast their continent. Let the people start looking for great minds to feast their continent with the great people. When you make people of great mind, of course, you're going to have great people in your continent. Africans need great minds to make themselves great with great things. It's not enough to be great. We've got a lot of people, we say, in Nigeria, we have a lot of great people. In Africans, generally, we have a lot of great people. But yet, where are the great things in their continent? Nothing. There's nothing great in their continent. Just self-titled. Self-titled. One person can make the whole continent. So, young people, I want you to realize this, that the continent is for you, because the outgoing people have no concern about how you can make good deal in this continent. But young people, you should begin to work on how we can make this continent great. So start looking for the great mind to feast your great people. When you are having opportunity to choose leaders, look for great minds. There are people who don't have money. They don't have the white qualification, the white certification, white recognitions of certificates from any school. Yet, they have this mind for the people of Africa. Let's encourage good minds rather than the applausive, contemporary, fake results from fake knowledge to the people of Africans. Let the people of this continent look for a better sense of reality. Africa needs a great mind to make themselves great with great things. Okay? Africa needs a great mind to make themselves great with great things. Now, we are just great with nothing. Growth, but grow empty. Equal with nothing. You are comparing yourself with white with nothing. You don't have anything, but you keep deceiving yourself that, oh, we are valued, we are valuable, challenging the white as if you can do without them. You have not made anything. Your people have not made anything good yet. The few ones that would have helped a bit, they are over there making good life for the whites. They make the white country better. So Africa needs mind to make themselves great things with great deed. Now, let's go on. Right? I mean, there is no leader that can feast the nation but the people. Okay? Feast the people and people will feast your nations. Feast good people in the places of your authorities. And these good people will feast your nations. The same the elite refuse to make that must make their countries. The elite of Africa have refused to make their younger ones. They have refused to make the upcoming ones. And they are the same people that must make their continent. And yet, they ignore them. They limit them. They do not carry them along. They don't expose them to good things. They cage the destiny of their younger ones. And yet, they want their country to be better. So, in conclusion, they don't want the country to be better. If you want the country to be better, you should come together and make sure you make impact in the life of the younger generation. Make them responsible. Make your people responsible if you want a change. Make the people responsible. Okay? People are not without value. They have values. Every African has a value. You must make them responsible to themselves, to their value. Work on the people's potentials. Work on their potentials. Help them to be original, to be truthful, to be sincere. Encourage their values, to be sincere with themselves, with anything. Let them have sense of belonging in their continent. Let them have self-belief in their continent. Let them believe in their continent. Let them know how to use the value and the potential, the commonwealth, the good gifts of God in Africa. Impart a great mind in people, and your nations will be full of great things. Nobody can make you better. As an individual now, I'm talking to you, that you must have the art to make something good for your continent. Not just expecting somebody to come and make you like God. God gives art to make wealth and not to make somebody worthy as many think. He gives you art to make wealth and not to make you worthy as you think. So your relationship matters. Who do you relate with mostly? If his self is good, if his God is better, but what makes you become miserable most times is when you're relating with the same human with low sense of reality, originality. That makes you worse. Thank you very much. So further on, very soon, I'm going to be breaking all these things down. I will be dealing with each issues that will make good changes in Africa, will solve problems in African countries, and will make sure people come up to take charge of their continent and stop looking at what the white have achieved. They need to achieve something with theirs. Thank you.